Whenever this video is uploaded, depending on when the mood strikes me to actually make it public, it will have been a few days, both since I recorded it, and since the tragic and untimely passing of Nintendo President Satoru Iwata. Now let's make this perfectly clear from the outset. Nintendo is the bedrock of the video game industry. No matter what sleek, over-designed plastic shit brick hits the market, grabbing headlines and huffing hype, their Nintendo is and always will be chugging right the fuck along, utterly unconcerned with the petty one-upsmanship of its often distant competition. There was perhaps no more immaculate a distillation of this phenomenon than Nintendo's presentation at E3 2014. After 1.5 days of pre-rendered pablum, timed exclusives, and buzzword ballyhoo, Nintendo sat back, bided their time, fingers steepled, and when the curtains parted, so too did the assholes of their enemies. And Nintendo under Satoru Iwata at its best possessed a unique capacity to do precisely that. For all the latter-day revisionism of Iwata's regime at Nintendo, often justified and just as often not, as I was sure to itemize with a light seasoning of F-bombs in my rant entitled In Defense of Nintendo from just over 1 year ago, there were times I wholeheartedly concurred with Iwata-san, such as, again, in my rave review of Nintendo's Lights Out showing at E3 2014, and of course times when we parted company. But from the moment of his ascension to the presidency in 2002, he has done one thing very well. When Sony and Microsoft were slinging more mud than an ecstasy pusher at Glastonbury, contrivedly quibbling over every bit, byte, and irrelevant timed exclusive,
pre-order now and get access to the multiplayer beta.
Nintendo have been far too busy making shocking quantities of money. I wanted to wait a bit to weigh in on the industry's loss, though, not merely to allow the dust to settle, but also because, let's be honest, where modern YouTube is concerned, for every earnest expression of heartfelt remorse and declaration of Iwata-san's virtues we'll witness over the following days, there's gonna be a baker's dozen proclaiming their undying adoration for a man they were burning in effigy weeks previous, whether due to Nintendo's YouTube policies, the Wii U console, or any other perceived slight, be it real or imagined. As I record this, it's been literally moments since hearing the announcement for me. I probably will have weighed in on Twitter before recording this, but I can already tell you without the faintest molecule of doubt and no precognitive abilities whatsoever that over the intervening 3 days, 4 days, however fucking many, YouTubers and pundits who weeks ago were excoriating this man as the Alfred E. Newman of contemporary gaming are gonna be pirouetting the fuck around like a Dark Souls boss. Look, I don't mean to play the contrarian. I don't mean to, but I'm fucking gonna, because it's a nigh immutable fact that on July 11th, Satoru Iwata was somewhere between Pol Pot, Hitler, and testicular torsion on the flowchart of public derision, and now on July 12th, he's in talks for fucking sainthood, which presents one of two possibilities. Either he was Michael Jackson, or YouTube's hypocrisy runs deeper than the crack of Sterling's ass. I'm not saying this to stir up controversy or to be an ornery asshole. I'm saying it because, as anyone could glean from one of my videos on the subject of modern-day Nintendo, what I personally came to appreciate about Iwata-san was precisely what made him the most tempting pinata for the bat-wielding homunculi of YouTube. His complete, unrepentant disregard for commonly accepted logic and the safe path. Love him, hate him, Satoru Iwata was a trailblazer. When the Xbox 360 and PS3 were being shopped around on processing power and graphics, Satoru Iwata irrefutably proved what I've been saying since the inception of the 8th console generation, what I've cautiously warned could prove disastrous if its priorities aren't rapidly realigned.
This truth never changes. Software sells hardware. People buy game systems to play the game they love. I agree with Steve Jobs, the head of Apple, when he said, software is a user experience. Software is a driving technology, not just of computers, but of all consumer electronics.
In a modern industry where Sony sells 20 million PS4s but still can't break software sales records from a time when it had 1/5 the market share, it's abundantly clear to me, to anyone with gray matter above the brainstem for that matter, that Satoru Iwata had the last laugh. Iwata made games, superb ones like Earthbound and Super Smash Bros., and through nearly a decade and a half at the helm of the Big N, not once did he take his eye off the Pokeball, because unlike so many AAA publishers, not to mention the pseudo-journalistic jagos that dutifully regurgitate their spurious bullshit, latter-day Nintendo recognized that it's not the console industry, it's not the hype industry, not the pre-rendered trailer or the day one DLC industry, it's called The video game industry. There were times over the past 13 years when it seemed to me the only fuck in the room that understood that was Satoru Iwata. Godspeed, Iwata-san. God fucking speed.